Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Small Business USA. And our this is kind of an open Q&A today. So members, you have my cell phone, text. I have my phone standing by. I have been blessed with already so many questions to answer for our members today. But anyone who wants to join in and answer questions, feel free to grab an open seat. I think today will be a fun call. We'll start talking about marketing, but anything that comes up with small businesses is really fair game. So ask questions, use the /Q to ask a question. We'll put it right up on the screen. Take the empty seat. Whoever's interested, I'd love to have you and love to meet some new people today. So I'm going to just start off with some of the questions that I got this morning and tell you why I chose this topic, how to market your business for free. You know, what's interesting is we get asked to speak a lot with Small Business USA. And we go and we have our little road show, and we have our advisors who really help us out and have contributed to our marketing strategy and program. And one of the things that we talk about most often is how to market your business for free. And I think everybody's trying to find that magic solution, and everyone's always watching how many trends are out there and what's new. And Blab is one of the ultimate tools to market your business for free, right? We use Blab for a few different reasons, but most importantly, it's because we can live stream to our members. We do a little we have a project called Generating Winners that we can also live stream there. That's really for parents, but it's something that we're really passionate about, and so we really like to contribute to. But I think the live streaming is a really awesome tool. I also think a great tool with Blab is that you can actually record it. So you can get it on YouTube, you can send the Audible to iTunes, and it has a life of its own that far exceeds just what we're seeing here today, the 21 people that subscribed or however many are watching live streaming on our website. So I think on average, when we looked at how many people watch that first week, it's a pretty big number. So Blab is a way for us to kind of show who we are, be who we are. This is, real, unfiltered. I'm going to trip over my conversation and step off. And this how to market your business for free conversation it's a lot more than just Blab or one skill or one tool. So we often, we'll go and we'll do this presentation somewhere where, as a matter of fact, I have someone doing it tonight in Stanford Innovation. But we'll also, I love that we have text. But so we will also, we've done it probably twice last week and once a week before, but people want to know. I mean, we're all looking at this time that, from an economy standpoint, we're watching the presidential election saying, what the heck is going on? We need to watch where we spend our money. So anytime that you have the ability to market for free is a great tool. Again, anybody who wants to jump on, feel free to take a seat. You can weigh in on any of these topics with me. But marketing for free, I'm going to throw out the most important thing. And we all know the number one way to market right now it's really relationship marketing, right? There's a million trends out there. And I want to talk about some of these trends, but it's really about the relationship that you have with your clients, with the relationships that you build. A relationship doesn't cost anything. A relationship is spending time and getting to know people. But sometimes social media starts that relationship with us. It reminds people that the relationship needs to be continued. So there's a few different elements of that relationship marketing that are really important, but don't have to cost anything. So I thought what I would do is talk about the biggest digital trends that are out there right now and share some pretty cool statistics, I thought, from last year. Content marketing is still king. Content marketing is free, right? This is content marketing. Whatever articles you post on LinkedIn is content marketing. 22% of the commercial impact of your marketing results is from content marketing. That's kind of a big number. As a matter of fact, they looked at marketing firms right now, and marketing firms today spend 50% of their time on content marketing. I think that just speaks volumes for the ROI that you're going to get for content marketing. Now, I know a lot of people, I am not a proficient writer. So go and look at my stuff. You can check me out on LinkedIn, Colleen Ferrary. I think I'm the only one out there. Ferrari with a Y, pretty hard name to forget, right? I'm not the best writer, but I think one thing that really draws people to my site and to me, and then that helps me connect with people, and where my content marketing is really valuable, is it's honest and it's unfiltered. And it's not really going to be the absolute most well-written information that is out there, but it's going to be exactly who I am. And I think people can discern when you're being authentic versus not authentic. There's a lot of folks out there. I mean, you can use sites like Fiverr and have somebody write content for you for $5. And a lot of people do that. I mean, that's what marketing firms do too, right? They write content for you and post it out there. I would just challenge you, if you're going to use, remember it's about relationships. And if you're going to use content marketing and you're going to use somebody else's content that they've written for you as a ghostwriter, don't plagiarize anyone. Make sure that it's authentic to who you are. Make sure it's really reflective. So out there, so content marketing, 22% of the commercial impact is from content marketing. 17% is from big data. I'm just looking at my notes so I don't screw this up. Big data, that's marketing, customer insight, predictive analysis. That's kind of a big lump. But 70% has the biggest commercial impact. Then after that, it's mobile marketing. I don't know, you guys. I'm not loving mobile marketing. I get angry at it, but it's effective. That's 12%, one of the biggest trends kind of edging in there. And then social media marketing is 8%. One thing that I found really interesting, SEO. SEO has a 3% impact. Paid search, 2% impact. Some of these numbers from this year are really astounding. So Laura has a question. Thanks, Laura. It's why not just present your message on existing print media outlets that already have great content and gain the benefit of being associated with outlets that have a loyal following? I think that's great. You can do that, Laura. I would just challenge you. Your goal here is to get people to come to your site to visit you. This was from a marketing website. But so Laura, I'm sorry, I got a little distracted. So you want people to come back and trace that connection to you. I think it's great to be associated with other content, but if you have unique individual content, I would challenge you to put that somewhere where it's going to drive traffic to you. Because if you go into a bigger content site, and we leverage generating winners for a lot of our, to your point, we leverage generating winners for a lot of our businesses, because generating winners has a lot of power and Google is going to follow content on there first. If you want your individual content to go back to you, I think there's many different ways that you can do that. I think that you can put it on a big site like that, but just know that site is going to probably trump your site with Google. So it's going to, if you have content that's really great and somebody Googles it, you're going to go and you're going to throw that information out there into the universe, and they're going to have to go to the end of your blog probably and follow you back to your site that way. It happens. I really like LinkedIn because I think LinkedIn, especially in the B2B world, it connects it directly to you. It allows people to follow you. And then you can actually see who's following you, who's commenting. You can track it a little bit better, because to go back to that relationship marketing, when you go back to that relationship marketing, it's really not about who read it, but it's about the engagement that happens after. So I would encourage you, if you post something on LinkedIn, you can go see who read it, who commented on it. You can see who looked at your profile, who followed you. And then you now have the ability to go and start that conversation with them and that relationship with them, which is a lot different. Like if somebody goes to my Generating Winners site, even though it's an amazing site, I mean, we posted something yesterday, it had 118 views on it. Well, 118 is great. It's far more than I'm going to get on LinkedIn today with that same push. But how many, I don't have that ability now to go back and follow through and see who's out there and build that relationship. And relationships are really what sells. I hope I answered your question for you, Laura. The data, let me get back to you on that because I have a whole bunch of different notes and I pulled it up from a website search, and I believe it was the AMA that pulled that up, Jed, but I'm not 1000% sure. So thank you. I'm sorry, I don't have that at my fingertips. Any other questions or anybody want to jump on? Please feel free to take that seat. I'd love to have a co-host with me today. So it's kind of interesting. We talk a lot about websites and making sure that your website is a really great conversion tool. And one of the pieces that really surprised me is that conversion rate optimization being at a 5%. And I always tell members, we broke every rule with Small Business USA when we first started. I've got to tell you, I went on there and started 3 years ago with a GoDaddy website, and it looked like crap. And it was not impressive. And it was something that, it was just a vehicle to have someplace for people to go. But I don't really believe that's why we got our clients. And that's not why we built our business. One thing that we share in this free marketing seminar that we do, when we talk to people, is the first 2 years of our business. Now we're in 17 states and 3 countries. But one thing that we share is that the first 2 years of our business, we spent a total, business cards, rack cards, all that. We spent a total of $1,000 over the course of 2 years to market our business. And we've had amazing success. Now I'm going to share that. And I'm also going to share, I started a business years ago called Atlantic Social Club. I've closed it since, but the first year was a lot of investors involved. And we spent $75,000 really pushing and marketing that business that first year. I can't even tell you that it didn't change the results. It actually, spending that much money actually increased our customer portfolio, and it wasn't as directed, and it ended up, we were going in way too many directions because of that. So if I had to do it all over again, I would be a little more strategic and targeted with how I did that. One thing I really want to share too is one of the questions that someone asked me is from a member, you make a big deal about selecting a target market. Why can't I just market to everyone? And I think Atlantic Social Club for me was a really great example. It's so important. You have limited dollars, but more importantly, to really select your target market and figure out who that is. If we go back, and you're going to hear this a lot, this relationship marketing conversation, if we really go back and look at relationship marketing, it's really about knowing who somebody is and what they're doing and what they want. And it's about, nobody ever hires you guys because they need your service. They hire you because they want your service. And if you've ever said to someone, everyone in this room is my customer, well, I'm telling you, you're making some serious mistakes, because they're not all of your customers. Everyone, hey, Zeth. Hey, your customer is a very small microcosm of that big group. Generally, research says it's 3 to 4%. So by targeting that specific client and really spending the time to figure out who that is and what they want from you and what your shared passion is going to make your marketing so much more effective. When I think about Small Business USA, we're a business development company. I mean, there's probably a whole bunch of people on this call right now who help small businesses get on their feet and help develop them and help market them, right? But the shared passion with someone for Small Business USA, somebody who joins our company, is really, that shared passion is they want the community. They want that support. They want to feel like they have that connection and support wherever they are, whenever they need it, whatever they don't want a one size fits all answer. They want a community around them. And that's where our logo is, and our tagline is small business owners are no longer alone. That's our shared passion. When you don't really figure out who your market is, you're really at risk at creating a whole lot more work for yourself. Hey, Zeph, I would love for you to join in if you want to join the call, or Jed, if you guys want to jump on. Thanks. I love that you guys are here. Brian, I know that we talked about you jumping on. Feel free, anybody, to grab a seat. But I think your target market is something that's going to help you have better conversions, help you spend your time and money more accurately. But it's also going to help your message connect better because you're talking to a smaller group who has a very specific shared passion versus this very broad passion. And when you start really broad, in order to sell and convert, you have to get down closer and closer and closer and closer to what that person needs. If you start really talking about their passion by knowing who your client is, you're going to have a better rate of effectiveness. So what is positioning was a question that came up. And, I love this question. Positioning is the art of creating a firm identity in the mind of your target audience, right? It's really about figuring out what your brand is out there. How are people going to see you? A little bit about what we said, Small Business USA, we're positioned that business owners aren't going to be alone. Who I really want to be a member for us is someone who that shared passion and how we want to position ourselves to them is that company where our members know they're part of something special. They're part of a community. They're not just one person in a roster of clients for one person. They're part of a community that's helping each other succeed. I want them to know that we're there and present when they need them. So I just challenge you guys, when you think about how are you positioned, being positioned correctly, creating your brand is really about making sure that your clients see you the same way you see yourself, right? And that, again, goes back to that holy grail of the relationship when you're marketing yourself. None of that costs money. And that's where your social media, that's where your content, that's where all of these free things that you do to market your business are really just reinforcing your brand and reinforcing your message and reinforcing your positioning in the market. Let's face it, I think we pulled up once that in the state of Connecticut, there's something like 3,000 marketing consultants. I mean, it's just something ridiculous. How can you have 3,000 marketing consultants as private business owners in one little itty bitty state like Connecticut, right? Every one of those consultants is out there going after a percentage of the market that you are going after as well. How do you position yourself differently? I think it's a really important market, and those who figure out how to position themselves differently and figure out what their niche is and figure out what that shared passion are going to be far more effective. So Tanya Hoffman, love to connect. Oh, I would love to connect with you. And anybody that wants to connect with me, please feel free to email me. It's Colleen, 2 L's, 2 E's, Colleen at smallbusinessus.com. Long story why that A isn't part of our email address, but I will tell you, I know who owns it. I'm going to get it. Eric. It's Colleen at smallbusinessus.com. You can go to our websites, smallbusinessus.com, and there's contact pages. Would love to talk to all of you or any of you that are interested. So I'm going to go back to our list of questions from the members that I got this morning. So anybody who has questions, please ask them. Anybody who wants to join on, please join on. How about the simplest? This isn't simple. What marketing tactics work best? There is absolutely no best. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll be lynched right now, but there's no absolute best strategy. The strategy is dependent on you. I talk to a lot of our members, and hey, Seth, I talk to a lot of our members all the time, and they say, oh, well, I had this coach, and this coach told me that I had to do this or do that, or this was the way I had to market. And I'm going to tell you, how you market, and Zep, welcome and weigh in on this, but I think how you market is really dependent on who you are. And if you are best in a networking situation where you can shake everyone's hand and you love to be around people, and that's your space, you're going to be best at that. If you are best on video, you're going to be best at that. But I think if you are terrible at one-on-one conversations and you're much better in front of a group, that one-on-one conversation is not the right way for you to market, but there are other ways for you to market. So, Zeph, you want to weigh in on that question?
Good morning. How's everybody doing?
Good morning.
Hey, Jet. Oh, he's walking. Oh my God. Yeah, you brought up a great point, and I think that's where I keep often reminding people, whenever you want to pick the right marketing strategy or the combination of the right mix, it's figuring out what works best for you and then kind of find a way to relate that to your audience too. Because if you're not going to find the right strategy for you, then you're not going to ever want to do it. Like, you're not going to be consistent at doing it, and you're going to look at it as a job, and you're not passionate about it. So I think that's a great way that you positioned it, is that you knowing what works best for you. Figure that out quickly.
Jeb, I just want to know where you are. It looks like you're at a burger joint.
I'm trying to find a conference room here. We're doing a media shoot today. All right, I think I found one.
So fun. Yeah, and I think sometimes people are so mistaken that there's this strategy they have to imply. They have to do content marketing. They have to write. If that's not your space, there's a lot of other ways to. What is that cliche? There's 99 ways to skin a cat or something like that.
That's probably true. But also, I think, right, in figuring things out in the marketing strategies that work for you, yeah, absolutely. We all learn. We all have a learning curve as we, develop our own mix of strategies for our marketing and build our own systems. But we also need to think about what the world now, which is the 21st century, works well with. So this is why I say you have to figure out what works best for you, and also find something that will connect you to your audience faster and better, because sometimes it's all about the cost, and sometimes it's all about being effective in your time, right? And how do you get to your people or your target market faster, better, and more people. So definitely, we all have to learn some point and another and figure it out. But definitely figure out what works best for you first. Because if you're not going to be happy doing it, you're not going to continue doing it, consistently.
Hey, it's so funny because I think about this setting, Blab. I never do Periscope because I'm terrible talking one-on-one. So I am so glad you two joined, because I so enjoy this environment, speaking to a group, so much more than I hate that one, just talking to a camera. Hey, Jed, our question from our member was, which marketing tactics work best? Do you want to weigh in on that before we go to Brian's question?
Well, I don't mean to belittle whoever sent you that question, but it's kind of a ridiculous question. Of course, the answer is it depends, and it depends on so many different factors, because really what you need to know before you worry about tactics is what your strategy is. And your strategy is going to depend on what you were talking about earlier, Colleen, which is, what's your positioning in the market. And, if you're positioning yourself to be a relationship-driven company, a relationship sales.
Oh, I think we might have lost him.
Company, then the tactics you use are probably going
to... I don't know. Can anybody hear? I can't hear you, Zeph, either.
It's a little choppy. Can you hear me?
Oh, now? There you are.
I have a lot to do with.
It's a little choppy for Jet there. But hey, Art. Morning, Melanie. How are you doing? Oh no, I know, Jet. Oh no.
Hey, let's go and answer Brian Short's question. Brian owns Avon Sewing Loft, which is a really cool custom curtain, and he's done custom curtain draperies and bedding, and he actually runs a B&I. So I love this question from him because he's busy, right? He's got this huge growing business and he's busy. There are a ton of social sites and networking events. How do I make sure I am making the best use of my time. And I want to give a shout out to Tanya Hoffman, who said, find the place where your target market is. You will make more sales that way. I agree. It's find your target market, figure out where they are, and go after them. But Zeph, I'll let you, before I talk everybody's ear off, I will let you take this one.
Yeah, there's so many social networking. So the question is, there are a ton of social sites and networking events. How do I make sure I am best of use my time? Yeah, you have to quickly figure out, absolutely knowing where your audience is. But here's also another take at this, right? When you build a field, do people come? You have to find a way to make people come, right? So whatever it is, whether you do social networking or a networking event, right? Figure out with the social networking sites, figure out what works best for you and also your audience, because social networking takes a lot. It's a monstrous management, and you have to figure out, if you need to be present on all platforms or only a few and do them well. Because if you're on all, suddenly your audience are not there. It does not make sense for you to be there, right? But also at the same time, you have to start building and announce it to your peeps and your audience and make sure that they know where to go to connect with you. That's social networking. With events, and I think with events right now is just trying to find the groups that make sense to you, that your target audience is there, that people who have a passion to collaborate and support with one another, because it's very, very frustrating when you go to networking events and only 5 or 10 show up. That's why I love Blab, right, Colleen? Because you just be here. And I always joke at almost every Blab, I say this: you don't have to shower, nor you have to brush your teeth to be on Blab, right? Dressing waist up is perfectly fine, but you're still, networking and you're still connecting with people. And that's why I think in this day and age, you have to ask yourself, how can you be present and consistent for your audience? And then you build that relationship. You teach them how to connect with you. You tell them how to connect with you. Because if you don't do that, it's like you have a baseball field, but people can't find it until you give them directions to get to your field. Does that make sense? So I think what would be great is if you're it's a lot to figure out. Social networking, the networking events. Oh my God, networking events. I was on a Blab. I was calculating this. I would say for a 2-hour networking event, which is standard, right, Colleen, it'll take like probably 4 hours out of my schedule, because you have to get ready, you have to shower, you have to get in the car, you have to drive, right? And that's why I love Blab, because 10 minutes before showtime, I'll wake up, oh my God, I have to be on Blab. And I'm like, okay, dress up, waist up, it's good, and on camera. You don't have to even shower, brush your teeth, but you smile and you're here, you're present. And that's what's awesome about it, right? So figure that out. And I think don't think about doing 10 platforms, 5 platforms. Pick one, start with one and be good at it. And the same thing with networking events, I think. Being present.
I love that. And I think you're absolutely right. I mean, use the right tools. I am going to share with you, years ago, I was at a networking event. 3 people showed up. And I was, we walked in and we laughed. We're like, it's just the 3 of us. And I will tell you, the 2 men that I met that day still fuel my business. That was in 2009. Today, they still fuel my business. They still help me. They are just so powerful with who I'm going to be. So I think, I want to just defer back to do what you do best. And if you are going to use Blab, which is a really powerful tool, Zeph is amazing and I also think Scott Gumbar is also really amazing. You two are like the king and queen of this, of taking Blab and turning those into relationships. Because just like we were talking about with LinkedIn earlier, if somebody responds to one of your posts, they can respond, but it's about what you do to build a relationship after that really changes the game and makes a difference. If you go out here and you do a Blab and then you do nothing with it, it's not going to help you at all. Right. When members join, we really pay attention to what they do and how they spend their time, to Brian's point. And I would say, first of all, doing what you're comfortable with, finding where your clients are, all of that is really important. But I think one of the most valuable things that you can do for your time, many of you didn't just start networking today or tomorrow or today or yesterday, right? You've been networking probably over the course of a year. Go and take a minute and challenge those results. Go figure out, go look at everything that you've done over the past year. And I'll tell you a story. We had a member who she had been going to a networking event every week. This networking group that she belonged to was expensive. I was like blown away. She paid over $200 a month to belong to this. And it had been over 2 years. I'm sorry, did I say that? Over 2 years, she had been doing the same networking event. And when I pulled her aside, I said, okay, let's look at how you've been spending your time and what has reaped reward and benefit for you. It was alarming that this one, and it wasn't the only one, and she wasn't the only member, but I'm telling you, she never, ever got a referral from it. And I promise you, it wasn't her message. It was the wrong place for her. So you have to really look at, if you belong to a BNI, if you belong to a chamber, if you are nurturing those relationships, if your pitch is right, because those are two real big reasons why they're not successful for you, then you have to kind of cut the cord a little bit and make a decision. If it hasn't reaped any reward for me, it's been a year, it's probably time to cut the cable and try something that is more suited to my clients. If your client is, a CEO or a C-suite executive and you're hanging out at BNIs, you're not going to find them there. Yeah. But if you go to even some chambers, you're not going to find them there. But if you go to a chamber that is really focused on relationships with major corporations in your community, that's the chamber that's going to work for you. So you have to do a little research and find where your client is. And I'm going to say one more thing on that point because I can't stop myself. I think, we have one client who it was so valuable. And so she didn't want to go to networking events anymore. She was just exhausted. She had just come to us. She had been trying to build her business for 2 years. And she just was like, Colleen, I'm just so done. What do I do? And what we challenged her to do is make that list of between 10 and 20 people who she really felt had great connections, knew who her clients were, knew her, and we focused on building her relationship with these, we call them super connectors. And she's now full. She has a full client list, and it's really been because she's nurtured those key relationships in her life, and she's helped them. It's two-way conversations that she's having. It's not just a one-way conversation. It's not just calling them up and asking them for referrals. It's about nurturing the relationship of 10 to 20 people who are really important to you, who really understand you, and who are super fans, and making sure that, you're just building those, and that's how you're building your client base. Yes. Do we have any questions out there? I see lots of, Zeph, you are so good at multitasking. This is awesome. You're like, I'm so horrible at that responding piece. So thank you so much. But, hey, I have some more questions from members. So if nobody else on the call has some questions, I have a couple more that came through this morning. The next question is, well, I think we might have answered this a little bit, but Zeph, I'll bring this to you. How do I know if what I'm doing is working? And she put in parentheses, social media.
Oh, it depends. Again, what Jet was touched on earlier a little bit, right? So about with social media. Let me start with this. Don't do social media just because you're doing social media and your respect tomorrow goes viral or whatever. Social media takes work. So if you're not getting results, right, look back into what you're doing and see if that system that you have, that you're using to work your social media marketing is working for you. How do you, there's many ways to track your results because there's so many tools. But again, ask yourself, why are you using social media? Is it to increase brand awareness? Is it to get paid clients? Is it to network? I don't know what your goal is or your objective is for using social media, but you have to have a plan. Many people don't do this is, they just, I want to be on social media. I want to be on, whatever, Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere. But they're not thinking about the tangible results that they're trying to achieve from that. And then this is what I keep on saying on all my Blabs. I said, we all need to learn to download to upload. Yeah, you can sit here on Blab the entire day. You'll get tons of information because everybody's going to say something different or something same. But then it all sits in your head, or it sits on your shelves, or it sits in your hard drives. You don't do anything much with it. And I say, why aren't you uploading it to your business? Figure out what works for you. Create a system that works for you. Sometimes the system is just a 3-step process, right? And starts with one thing, which is Facebook. So don't quickly get frustrated with social media just because you feel like you're not getting results, just because you don't know what you're trying to achieve, right? So figure that out and then go back to your process and your system and see what is not working. Take a look at all your data and analyze it and see what you can do better. And that's how I would say it. That's the easiest way to kind of address that social media. Why am I not getting results? Yeah. Because I think sometimes people get very impatient with social media, and of course, doing the right the system that does not work best for them, will not generate results for you. So yeah, go back and take a look.
Yeah, I think we need to remember too, social media is created to reinforce our positioning and our brand and our power. It also has to be leveraged to complement what we're already doing. And so often I'll see people who are out there on social media and they're posting about the Yankee game. They're posting about, this, I don't know, something that's going on with the presidential election. Everything that they're posting on social media is not really about what's helping and what's interesting to their core clients. And I also think it's really important to think about what you're sending out there. Is it really creating a brand around who you are? Are you, I think your personal Facebook page is that place. Go ahead and post about your kids and the Yankees and whatever else you want to do. But also people want to know that. They want to be personal. But there's also this piece of, if you're going to use social media, make sure that you're using it don't count it out if you haven't used it to position yourself well either. If you haven't done a great job creating and expanding your brand, leveraging it, then it's very easy to dismiss social media.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think many people don't have that understanding what social media is and how to use it, and don't have enough guidance, because here's it is, right? Sometimes with all this free information that we get, we don't know how to filter them because we don't know how to make it into a system that works for us, right? Not for them, for her, for him. No, it's for us, right? Because one of the biggest challenges with social media is knowing how to create the right content that becomes so valuable for your audience, number one. Number two, the management is just monstrous, and people think they just need to go on, your social networking sites and start posting every day. Just because you do a post every day means something. No, right? You need to work with a plan, and right. You need to have a tool. You need to have a calendar. And sometimes when I work with clients, or even, when we get people on our shows, and I'll ask, like, do you have a calendar for your social media plan content? And they go like, no. Oh, really? And you're wondering why you're not getting results. I'm sorry, but you do need to start with a basic calendar. And I think when people think about that, it's overwhelming. But here's the fact. It's all in the logistics. If you don't take care of the logistics in the beginning, that's when you get overwhelmed. 1, 2, you will not get results. And that's why you have to go back and take a look at your system, not Colleen's system, not Zaf's system. You can learn and take it all in and then filter them. Take the logistics that work for you and what you do in your business, not our business. So that makes sense.
Totally agree. Completely agree. And, I will tell members, people get lost in this whole social. There's so much. And I think choose 3 things and do them well, or choose even one thing and do it well. Don't try to be everything to everyone. There's a lot of talk about Snapchat. I want to hear what you think about Snapchat in a minute. But, you can't do everything well. Really, it's about being consistent and timely. And there should be an expectation from your potential clients or from your tribe that says, I'm going to be here and I'm going to see something from Small Business USA every afternoon. And I know our members expect to hear us from every Tuesday morning. They're going to hear like what's on and what's happening and what's going on. There's some consistency that is important. And I challenge you, if you can't be consistent, this is something that you should pay for. Like, this is, if you really want your brand built right, go find that person who is going to build your brand and understand your brand before they go and throw it out on social media and understands what differentiates you. And I'll tell you a quick story. I have a good friend who owns a car repair type of business, you know. And so we're talking about, he said, no, Colleen, I have to go with this marketer because he understands car repair. You know, 2 years later, his business has not grown. He hired this marketer. It's because this marketer he understood car repair, but he didn't understand how to market his car repair. He didn't understand what was special about this particular owner. And I think make sure that your marketer really understands you.
I'm so glad you brought that point. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's epiphany that you brought out that point. It is as simple as that, folks. Oh my God. You just touched on a very, very important piece there, especially in marketing, right? So you talked about finding the right person to help you with your logistics or processes or your system, right? So one of the things that I think people miss is the fact that in this 21st century, a lot has to do with you as the brand, right? Because we all evolve around this platforms or the social media technology, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of noise and there's a lot of like, oh my God, competing for eyeballs. But at the end of the day, somebody needs to know, what is Colleen good at? You know, how can I make Colleen shine? If I work with Colleen and do her social media, that social media content needs to sound like Colleen. It needs to have values that, you know, Colleen fights for or works for. It needs to be like in the language of Colleen Ferrary, you know, it needs to be in that form. And I think you brought a great point there. If you cannot handle the logistics or you're lost in this, you know, logistics pool, you need to work with somebody. You need to at least make an investment to work with somebody, because sometimes we cannot see our own strength. Therefore, the person that you hire is trained or an expert who does this, right? So they get to see the angles that they can help you shine. And you brought a great, that's why I said, oh my God, it's as simple as that sometimes. Yes.
Zeb, I love what you just said. Somebody once said, identifying what you're best at sometimes is like standing in a bucket and trying to lift it up. You know, sometimes you are just too close to the situation. And you need somebody from the outside to say, hey, this is why I like you. This is why I love your business. This is why you connect. Right. This is what you're really good at. So before we get to Brian's question, which I think is important, but it's going to bring us down a different street, I want to talk about Snapchat, right? Snapchat, the top 4 new 2016. It's out of the top 5 things that you need to do in 2016. Snapchat, I think, was listed as number 4. Companies are already flocking to it and moving to it as a standard marketing program. It is ephemeral, right? What do you think? Talk to us about Snapchat.
It's so funny you asked me that question. Jonathan Tripp, you should come in and talk about Snapchat. So I have to admit, I've not been on Snapchat a lot, just because this year, my objective is to focus on live streaming, and primarily live streaming on Blab, Periscope, and Google Hangouts. And I have not, I have not taken a deeper or closer look into Snapchat, just because I'm going into 2016 with like the objective of not being overwhelmed, because it can be overwhelming. So whoever has an experience with Snapchat should come in. But from all the good stories that I've heard, you need to find, I think it's not Scott Gombar. Is he still in here? If he's still
I think he had to leave, unfortunately. Oh. I don't know how deep he is into Snapchat.
I know he does Snap almost every day. So
you know who really does it is Kyle Reyes. I don't know if he's really, really good at it.
Brian says, no, Snapchat. Can't deal with it. That's exactly what it is.
Hey, Brian, I think that's really a good point. Pick the things that you're best at. Zeph has her 3, right? I think it's a great example. She's built a successful business based on 3 pieces of media, right? I mean, it's Google, Periscope, and Blab, right? Is that what it was? Mm-hmm. So I think you have to do what you do and do it well. I don't think you can ignore things like Snapchat that are out there, but Snapchat right now there's a very specific client. It is millennials that are there. It's those people who want to be the first to know. It's a very special client who's looking at Snapchat right now. And Snapchat, I've toyed with it at Small Business USA. I'm not on it. It's so I'm looking at Happy Dance Farm, and I think if you want to jump on and talk about it, that's awesome. Snapchat is one of those tools that it really attracts a very special kind of client. And if you want to show that you're cutting edge, if that's how you're positioning yourself, if you're positioning yourself to a younger market, I think you need to be on it. I think it's so big. And I think you have to be very careful about what you put on it too. Snapchat isn't something that you're going to post a blog on it. It's not a picture where you're going to post your logo. It's somewhere where you're going to post something memorable, something new, breaking news. It's going to be something that is really like, it's special and in the know. Right. So
it's more of a storytelling platform. So basically, from what I know and from what I see, my buddy here, Jonathan, he can't come in. I wish he could, but from what I understand, that what he's been doing with Snapchat is a storytelling platform. So basically, you can take pictures and it'll become short videos or do short videos, and you can tell a story and you can do edits on your video and your pictures, and it becomes a storytelling. And people love stories, and that's why people, watch or are on Snapchat. And I think, you're absolutely right. There is an audience, right? But again, at the same time, build it, they don't come. You have to let them know that you have a baseball field. You have to give the address to let them come. So again, whatever you use Snapchat, if you have that kind of audience where you're building a relationship with, you're telling a story, absolutely use it. I just haven't had the time, number one. Number two, I didn't want to feel overwhelmed right now. So I stuck to where I am with the live streaming platform. Because before this, I wasn't even active on Twitter. I've only been active on Twitter, I'd say probably 6 months ago when I started with Periscope. And it's taking off. Learning Twitter is just another, oh my God, right? So yeah.
It's funny. I think Blab and Periscope were the best things ever that happened to Twitter, right? Because didn't we just I read an article, maybe it couldn't have been a year ago, talking about how Twitter is not good for business. And I think that it really has turned it around for Twitter. Hey, I think it's Richard at Happy Dance Farm. If you want to tell us how Joel talked you into Snapchat, we'd love to hear that, whether you want to jump on or just throw it into the message box. I think it would be fun to kind of hear how he talked you into it. But yeah, I think it's very special. And I think if you're a marketer, it's something that you really should dig into. All right, let's go after Brian's question. I love this question. This is the biggest challenge we see business owners have. And here I am this whole call, right? I'm talking about building relationships and how do you build them and follow up with them. What are effective ways to follow up with potential clients after doing a presentation, other than just a phone call? I love this. Zeph, you want to take this?
Sure. There are so many ways to do it. Let me see. I'm hearing double in myself. Okay. There's so many ways to do it, especially in this tech-driven world. And you can go as basic as having a survey question right after a presentation, or you have maybe create a call to action sheet. If you're in a room, and I've done this before, if I do a presentation on a topic, I'll pass out some sort of a survey question, and I'll do an incentive with that survey question. I'll say, hey, if you do this survey question, I'll give you 15, 20 minutes of my time for designing your live streaming or broadcast, right? So that's an idea, because here's the thing. That gives you information about the people who attended there. And then if they're online, if you don't want to do the phone call, you can send them maybe another incentive survey. There's so many ways to do it. You can get really creative, or you can invite them. So one of the things that I've had to learn from my mentors in the past is, if you're in a room with with people, what you can normally do is just the people that you connect with, make sure that you try to book another appointment out of that, whether it's a phone call or, hey, let's go have coffee. Coffee! Who doesn't like coffee, right? Or maybe let's go get some cake. Hello, right? So think about all those things. How is it that you are connecting with your audience? Use all of that to be creative, because not only like, the traditional ways where you can do surveys, you can have coffee chats and stuff like that. But if you don't have the time to do that, the most immediate that you can do within 24 hours is really connect with people, follow up in social media. And that's what it is for, and do a shout out and maybe say, hey, I connected with somebody. I connected with you today, Colleen. It's so great to meet you. And you can do a shout out, because when you're networking or presenting, it's not always about you. Hello, you have the people in the room to think about, right? So do shout outs and say, oh my God, I met Colleen today. She's from Small Business USA. What's wrong with posting that up in your business page? It's a shout out. It's the way you connect with people. Oh my God, I can go on and on. But figure out what works for you. Hello, because if it's not working for you, you're probably not going to do it. So don't think 3, don't think 5, 1. You just need 1 and keep really good at doing that.
That is true. One of my favorite things to do during a presentation is I love the beginning and have everybody do their 30-second speech. When they do their 30 seconds before I even start talking, it allows me during that speech to engage with them. It allows me to speak to them, but also it allows me to pre-qualify the room really quickly and realize there's probably maybe half of the room, maybe a third of the room, maybe even only 1 or 2 people, to Zeph's point, in that room that I really want to build that relationship with. So that's the first thing that I always do when I make sure that I'm engaging with a room. The second thing is I please don't forget to pass around a sign-up sheet.
Yes, exactly.
Why wouldn't anybody ever do that? Pass around a clipboard and say, hey, I just want to make sure that everybody signs in today. People just do it. You get everybody's information. They just do it. And a lot of times, if you're a guest of someone, they'll do that for you. Yes. And all you have to do is just say, I would really like to follow up with them. Can I have the list of people who are there so I can thank them? And it's a great way to start the dialogue. But then those people, don't just go throw them on the mailing list, people, right? But then those folks, you can then go and start reaching out to them one by one. The ones that you pre-qualified, reach out to them and get to know them. And it's funny because somebody once was saying, oh, well, I had lunch with them, but they've never sent me any referrals and I bought this accountant lunch. Well, what's lunch? Just what? Is that a relationship? You went out for lunch with somebody, right?
I love that you say that. Yeah.
It's a start. It's a real good start, but it's about building the relationship. So I think you have to kind of look at your funnel and say, here I have this big list from the presentation. I've pre-qualified them to come up with a third of that room. And now I'm going to reach out with some personal emails to that third of the room. And I'm going to see if I can learn more about their business. And I'm not going to pick up the phone and just say, Brian sells curtains, but I'm going to say, hey, can I sell you some curtains? You need any custom draperies? I do a damn good job. I'm going to just say, hey, let me, I'd love to hear what you thought about the presentation. You can ask them about that. Or is there, do you have feedback for me? Or you can just say, I really want to just hear about your business. Because people are there because they're networking too, and they want to grow their business and build their business. So there's always that guy who says, I don't drink coffee, right? I love that. I've never been in a room where somebody doesn't stop and go, I don't drink coffee. We'll go over a beer, dang.
Oh, that's too
funny. Tea. Go to the park. I want to start a new trend, right? No more coffee meetings, because I'm kind of with you. I'm so tired of coffee meetings. Can we just go and meet for a walk? Let's go to a walking trail, or let's do something healthy. Let's go outside. But it's so funny. So
there's so many things to do, Brian. I think, and you say Brian has a curtain company. There's so many things you can do. And one of the things that I've done differently for even when I go to networking in rooms, and people who've networked with me will probably know this. When I go in, I come in prepared, number one. Number two, I go in thinking it's not about me. All right. It's not about me. It's about the other person. When I meet Colleen, I have my conversation with her, as I have a conversation with her, my mind goes this way. Who can I send Colleen to? Who can I send somebody to Colleen, right? Whatever way. What are the resources in my network works for Colleen? How can I be of value to Colleen? My mind works like that when I go to networking events. So like Brian, if you're doing a presentation, if you don't know how to follow up, one of the good things are the survey, connect them on. So have some sort of a process for your networking. Yeah, I'm a process gal. Sorry, guys. I'm just like process
Me
because
too.
that's how I built my systems. And figure out, because when you have a process, a system, it's easier, and you have some sort of a checklist in your head or write it down. And, if follow-up number 1 doesn't work, number 2, number 3, but it's all about building that relationship. You're absolutely right, Colleen, because just like what we're doing here in Blab, right? We're networking better, and we're here for one another when we're watching the shows, when we're engaging, we're having a chat. No, I don't drink coffee. I drink OJ. I love that, right? It's like having a coffee and cake at a bakery or at a cafe. That's my point, is figure out what works for you and build that system for you. And, it could be as good, like, you may not buy from us, maybe, I don't know, however you're connecting with people, but you can say, oh my God, we have a sample that you probably would be able to use it, and send them a sample. And I don't know, right, what that sample is, or, I would do this for you. Whatever. There's a ton of things that you can be creative and do. It's just about building that connection. It's not about the sale anymore. Yes, having a sale is awesome, but to get to that sale, get to know the person first.
Walter, you want to join us for coffee?
No, I don't drink coffee. In fact, when I first met my wife, she's in another room drinking her coffee. I tried to drink coffee with her in the morning, so we were doing something together, but it just really, it was too much. Because I don't even sleep. I don't need coffee to not sleep. I'm up always working on my art. So that drives me crazy. But I want to ask you certain things specific to my world, because Zeph, you're saying things about giving something to someone or whatever. I give everything to people, but it's very hard. They don't want to take it necessarily, because I'm an artist, right? So I have 350,000 images. So I give people my card. What's there is my art. You can look at it for free for the rest of your life, 365 days a year, 24 hours.
I had an art major history professor once that said, I'll never forget. She said, art is like going into someone's underwear drawer, right? It's so personal. And everyone, it is true, right? It's very, and it's funny. It's the same way, not everyone loves Matisse or Van Gogh. Everybody's got their own style. And I think it's about going, my daughter only likes contemporary art. I mean, I can drag her to MoMA. She spent all day in a MoMA, but if I bring her to the Met, I'm like, she's twirling and dancing, and it's so innate and it's such a young age. And I think it goes back to finding out where your customers are and who you're giving things away to. And you know what? I think you have to be also okay with saying, especially in your field, Walter, it is so personal. It is so specific and targeted to people's personal likes and dislikes that I think you have to be okay and say, you know what, 99% of the world is not going to like my art, and I'm going to be okay with that. But if I give it away to 100 people, I know one of those people will like my art, and how will I follow up? And when they,
that's how I do. That's why I give my cars out in the street. No, I can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear us now?
Yeah, okay. So that's why I give out my cars in the street to everyone, because someone's going to like it, and maybe even if they don't like it, they'll give the card to someone else.
Yeah, and I think that's a great strategy. I think that, but what Zeph was talking about earlier is having that real process, and what I was talking about before that is taking the time to figure out who your client is and where they are. Mm-hmm. You could be a little more, on the street, the chances of hitting that target market, there's a lot more energy exhausted, a lot less return on investment.
But I love this. I love being in the street.
Yeah. So when you're in the street, being near a store, I mean, just for an example, if you only take pictures of horses, if you're handing out those cards near a barn or an equestrian shop, your return on investment is going to be much higher than if you're handing them out in front of, Joe's House of Steel. I don't know, whatever. But I think you have to be a little more targeted about where and how and who, and you're going to get a better return on investment. So it may be on the street, and you may love that, but think about what street you're on. In Hong Kong, they have a street just with handbags and watches. That's it. That's the only thing they sell on the entire street. There's another street that only sells shoes. And I think if you're going to hand out pictures of shoes, you know what street you want to be on. And I think it's about being as deliberate as you can, and it's not always easy.
Walter, so when you say piggyback a little bit on your question, you said I was giving advice for something that's not in your industry. So walk us a little bit about what you do with those. Why do you do that giveaways?
Oh, well, I started a long time ago, before there was even the internet. Mm-hmm. I had just a card, and actually I started with just a plain card when it was just had the name and phone number back in 1976 when I first started my business, because somehow I did get people calling me, and they would want to meet me like by Saks Fifth Avenue or Rockefeller Center. And sometimes they were late, and thousands of people were passing me. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they didn't even show up. But when all those people were passing me, which is where I hand out my cards, Fifth Avenue, Sixth Avenue, Seventh Avenue, whatever, in Manhattan, when they were passing me, I said, boy, if only a very small fraction of those people knew what I did, maybe they would want what I was doing. And at that time, my concern or focus was only on selling photography. And then finally, I knew for a long time that it would be nice, because I had been published in Vogue. I did advertising for famous clothing stores and stuff, and my pictures of their clothing were in the magazine, Vogue magazine, and it sold all over the country. And they said, boy, I should have on my card a picture that would help sell whatever I do, not just what I do. Maybe the picture would help, but I didn't. For a long time, I loved flowers and trees and stuff, and I said, well, that might not do it. So I thought about what I asked a lot of different salespeople. I said, well, how do you sell your business? How do you sell yourself? She said, you sell yourself. All right. So I made a card, and it had my picture on it. So that was selling myself. As literal as I can get, because that's me. And so that started working. Okay.
So when you say you sell yourself, Colleen, is it okay if I just ask him a little bit of a question here? Because sure. I think where I kind of see where this is coming. So you say you sell yourself, you have your picture, right? But is there anything else that you're doing to connect you to your audience better, other than just a picture on your card or a business card and being on Blab?
Well, now, this is since I've been photographing and creating art since 1958. That's 58 years now. And so I got a lot of business over the years with the business card. And what else am I doing? I have a Facebook fan page with 12,000 people. Mm-hmm. I have Twitter. I have a little... these things, these tools I'm playing with, but I don't feel, I've read a lot about push marketing as opposed to inbound marketing, and maybe inbound marketing just disappear and let people try and find me or see what I've done. If I just talk about it a little and then disappear, maybe people will be interested. That's my thinking about having relationships with everyone. I like to sit here and work on my art.
Walter, I think with you, the relationship is going to be an emotional connection to your art. Yep. And based on your business card, based on your business card, I see a picture of you, but I'm not
Right.
necessarily seeing anything that. And we've been on a few different calls together in Blab, right?
This is one card that I had for a while, and that has a lot of different things on the back. It says photography and business opportunities and art. It has specific about the art on the back. That's this one. So it says me and then the art and a sample of the art. But this is the card that I've been giving out now, which specifically says just art.
Okay, so let me kind of pull back a little bit because so right now with Blab,
this is fun.
There's 18 people on viewing at this moment. I don't think any of the 18 people can say, wow, he's selling something that I might be interested in. They don't know. You can't tell with this vehicle what it is that I'm supposed to be connecting with, except you're a nice guy. But being a nice guy, there's a 1% chance when I go to your website, I'm going to like what you're selling, right? So I think you have to use these vehicles more. You need to put images of the art that you're selling associated with these vehicles. Like on Twitter, I hope it's pictures of your art. I do
put up on Pinterest all the time.
Okay. So I'm gonna you guys a little bit here, okay? So this is what we talked earlier about making that connection and understanding in the 21st century, there's certain vehicles work better than the old school. Okay. This is where I think we all have a challenge of transitioning from a traditional whatever process system to something much more much savvier or more high visibility. Right. So I've seen you here, Walter, on Blab for quite a bit. And if I were to work with you, one of the things I will help you do, not pitching, I'm just giving an idea, because here's what I've seen people achieving, artists like you achieving this via live streaming. What you could do is literally come in, because it's about you, because it's an emotional content, like what Colleen was saying. Emotional content. We don't see you in your element, in your organic form. What if you had a Blab and just tell people who wants to learn how to draw a cat today, right? Hello, or draw something. I'll have a free session and I'll, comment on. It's you building a relationship, because you have to showcase your value in the 21st century. Right now, you're on 7th Avenue, 6th Avenue. I cannot find you, but me and Colleen can find you on Blab, because it's as easy as that, right? You come in, you're in your element, and you just have a discussion and get people to engage with you and say, do you like this picture? What don't you like about this picture? Have them engage with you, because I think the missing component here is you connecting the emotional content of who you are and your work with your audience, because now they don't really understand or get you, and they don't know how to get in touch with you. So if you did that and do some kind of like maybe a show, I'll just teach you how to draw a cat, because I'm very bad at drawing a cat. I'll be the first one to be there, Walter. So walk them through and then tell people, or maybe have a class, maybe like an art class on Blab, and then have a conversation about that artwork that you just did. And I want you to, this could be like a little homework for you. Watch this guy. His name is Amrit Singh. He's from the UK. Awesome dude. He has this long beard, very creative dude. What he does for him to connect with his audience, he'll have a live streaming scope and he'll draw, and he says, what do you want me to draw today? And they'll say, we want you to draw something out of a picture that you took yesterday or whatever. So he'll draw and he'll talk, what do you like about this? What color do you want on this? And then he goes like, who wants this? I'll sell it to you for $20. Boom. Everybody, because they have this emotional connection with you, they go like, oh my God, I love that. And everybody's fighting for that artwork. Does that make sense, Colleen? Because I've seen it
very
work.
Well said.
Right? Yeah, and I was like, I want it. And what he has done, not only thinking about him, what he did was during all his scope, he has had like, like artwork, and he'll do one Periscope, or you can do any kind of live streaming platform and go like, this week, I'm going to donate all the sales from my artwork to a charity, and he'll get like thousands of people into his scope just because that's heart in there. And then you get known. That's how you connect and engage with your audience. I just feel that would be like a great example for a creative artist like you.
Periscope too, I think, is a great vehicle for you as well, because it's about showcasing your work too. And I love it, Zeph, the heart, the connection, the relationship. I think is a great example. And I think you have to find, if that's not comfortable for you, Walter, I think you have to find something very similar to that it does that same thing. It connects people to your art.
And if you do a Periscope, you don't necessarily need to show your face, because I've known Periscopers who don't show their faces, but they'll just walk through and have a conversation, you know. But the most important thing is you connecting with your audience. I'm not going to lie to you, but here's the thing. In this day and age when we're all in the social media, all right, print is almost becoming like, when I see a print, I'm like, oh my God, there's so much print. And I don't get that personal connection with you. I don't get that human side story of who Walter is. I want to do business with Walter. I need to know and trust him. I need to have a connection. So how do you do that? You know, you can have a very fancy card, pictures and stuff, but it doesn't tell a story, you know, so there's no human connection. So I think if you're on live streaming, what would be great is to really test this tools out and see which vehicle works best for you.
Walter, do you have a website highlighting, like, with all your prints that you can sell off of? Do you have a storefront?
Yeah, it's on, you look over my name. It says the one says Walter at Volar Kingdom. You just click on it. The link is right there. I'll give you the link.
Can you put the link in the message to Walter so that all our audience can
if you want, sure, of course.
So is it VolarDKingdom.com? Yeah, I think that'd be great.
No.
Great. Zeph, thank you so much. This is great. Walter, thanks for coming on and challenging us and talking about the message. Any words of wisdom before we wrap this up, Zeph? Any words of wisdom? And I'll be happy to make you a host if you would like to keep this call going. Totally up to you.
I have a question. I have more of a question. What do I do if I don't want to do any of that? I just want to work on my art and give out those are the only two things I feel good doing. Well, I don't mind talking to people in the street. I don't mind talking to you, right? I don't want to draw cats or what someone else wants. It's different. I mean, I do commercial photography, right? And when someone wants to photograph their product or their face or whatever it is that they want to sell, like I've done famous actors, I told you I did fashion and whatever, that's commercial. But my fine art is something that I want to do, okay? And if someone's interested in what it is that I want to do or what I'm working on, you know, for whatever reason, I don't know if they connect with my nose or my hair or whatever it is that they want to connect with, then they can go look at that's what the link is there for. But beyond that, you know, I'm sorry, I can't imagine. There are 10,000 to 60,000 image views for my site every day. That means I don't know how many people are looking, but a lot of people are looking at art from all over the world. I can't begin to talk to a small fraction of them and continue my focus on creating my art. That's my focus. I mean, I'm an extremist. If I start to really market myself, if there was something that I found that I wanted to do, which is like handing out the cards, which I do now only when I drive my wife to the city because she's going to study ballet at the Joffrey Ballet School, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and now she's taking some jazz class on Mondays. That's why I'm there, because I'm waiting for her and I'm in the street. So what am I going to do? Whenever, like if I went to the grocery store this morning, I hand out my cards, wherever I am. I'm an extremist. You can't find me anywhere that I wouldn't give out a card, even when I'm not supposed to give out a card. The people in the post office know me. The lady that helps you with the package when you don't know what to do, she'll take my card. And everyone online gets my card. I met an artist.
I'm sure you do give a lot of cards, Walter. But let me ask Colleen this question. Let me get Colleen answer that question, because I know Colleen probably is going to wrap this up. But I'm going to let Colleen answer that question, because I probably have a little bit of my idea too.
There's first of all, the one thing that really jumped out at me is you have 60,000 views. That's incredible.
Every day.
Then I have to ask, there is this piece of me, and we can talk offline for sure. I don't know where you went, Walter, but there's this piece of me that really asks, what does a conversion look like once they get there? How did they buy it? What does a website look like? Are we doing a good job of converting those into sales? And if you have 60,000 views, I mean, that's extraordinary. So I love your hairdo too, Zoe. You look fabulous.
What do you think? New hair. I'm like, what new hair, buddy? It's the same hair.
So I don't know if you heard that, Walt.
No, I missed it. I think I got all out of the whole thing then.
Yeah, no, well, I think the one piece is, how do you convert that 60,000? And I'd be happy to talk to you. I'll just put my name for anybody. I mean, I'll put my contact information. I can connect you with one of my advisors or myself. Be happy to help you for free, and just answer some questions for you, get you started. But there's this piece that says you have 60,000 a day. You've got to convert that. And that could be something really, really, really simple to convert that into a sale that you're missing out on. It just seems, yeah. I mean, that I'll leave it there. Go ahead.
It goes back to what you said earlier, Colleen, is knowing what your objectives are and also knowing where your audience is. And we're just not talking about audience who views the images, audience who will buy those images. If that is your objective to make a sale, is knowing where they are. And then I don't know, because, we're in this short blab, it's hard for us to evaluate. But Walter, I mean, one of the good things is probably to figure out what is your system and process. Because I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm sorry if I'm stepping on anybody's toes today. Hello, that's not the point. We're here to learn from one another. Hello. All right. Here's my reaction when somebody gives me cards. I'm like, 2 seconds later, they're forgotten. Because you know why? Because they have not taken the time to get to know me. No, I did not get the chance to get to know the person. Unless the conversation revolves around, hey, whatever. You sat down and have a conversation about targeted conversation about making a sale or the opportunity. If you give a card, to me, it's okay. But if you keep on passing a card, and I tell people that's one of the worst ways anybody can do. And I'm not stepping on anybody's toes. This is the truth. When I do a lot of networking, I see this. When I see somebody hold a card, I go the other direction, because I know they're not going to bother to take time to get to know me. Right. I'm here to get to know you. So if you do that, my first light bulb goes, hello, they don't care about me, so why should I? So I move in the next direction. That's just my thought process. Some of you may agree, some may not, but it's just depending on the situation. Giving out cards is just not the best practice, because people do need to get to know you. You have 60,000 views, which is really awesome, but just what Colleen said, how are you converting those views? Because 60,000 views, 300,000 fans are awesome.
Do you know how many people would love to have 60,000 hits on their website every day?
Exactly.
That's unbelievable. So, it's about converting them. And I think you're absolutely right, Steph. It's everyone has their own strategy. You know what you said, Walter, I think is important. I don't want to paint cats. You don't want to do that. And that's really
higher.
There's 1,000 other strategies that can leverage what you do well, what you do best, and what you love doing to go after. And if you want to keep handing out cards, I don't think that Zeph or I are ever going to stop you. I don't think either one of us believe it's the most effective tool, but like you said, you're an extremist. If you want to hand out 100 cards a day, then do that. And those could result in something.
And I think, Colleen, from your experience and my experience, and I think there's a few coaches in this call too that could agree, one of the biggest things of making changes, it's hard, whether you're extremist or not, is that you have to be open-minded to accept the changes and to do the work that makes the changes to get the results that you want. If you only see this like this, right? Nope, not going that way, because I came from a different time and culture and system and process. You're looking that way and suddenly you're like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to try it because I've done this very well. Yeah, awesome. That works great for you. But you need to find clients. You need to make a sale, right? But the 21st century is revolving, whether you like it or not. Electronics is going to be here. The smartphones are going to be here. But, you know, it's a question of, again, what are you comfortable with? Yes, it's not about drawing cats, but you can get really creative. But the point is, it takes a little bit of time and effort and energy. So, and an open mind to make changes.
Are you pressed for time?
I am actually. I have another call at 11:30, so I have to scoot.
we do need to wrap up, unfortunately.
Okay.
But great audience here today, Colleen. We have like 125 viewers and 18 watching live.
I know, it's great. So that's fun. And we always see lots of replay through our website. And we stream live on Small Business US every week. I know I've gotten a few texts from people that have been on and off this morning. So thank you for joining us. I love this. And, you know, please reach out, anybody, if you're interested in learning more about Small Business USA or about Zeph, please reach out to us. We would love to meet you and talk to you. My contact information, I'm sure Zeph will give you hers. It's Colleen at smallbusinessus.com. And Zeph, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, other than DM me on Twitter, which is my handle is right there at Zeph_Zen, or you can go to my website, which is right here on the right side. It's entrepreneurs with an S, that soar, SOAR.com, just in case if you're just listening in and, in the replay.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And then Walter, your site is listed up there above as well. So I appreciate everybody being on the call today. Members, thanks for the great questions and challenging. Brian, thanks for being out there. And I wish you had jumped on, you big chicken. So I'll give you a hard time about that later. But thank you so much. I love when we get a lot of people on, and I love when we have guests. So thank you so much for jumping on,
Thank
Zeph.
you for having me here, Jump On.
Hey, and Zeph, just, I'm going to hang up. Thank you, members. Have a great day. I'm going to end the recording. So have an awesome day.